You would have noticed that for some time I have not talked about any political issue in Nigeria. And the reason is that it makes me very emotional to talk about it because it's really tiring. Honestly, it's tiring looking at what is happening to my country, our country. A couple of days ago, I saw the image of the Nigerian army general who was executed. Remember I stayed on that video for a very long time. Is it supposed to be happening? Can this actually happen in a country? And yet the country hasn't declared war? How did we get to this point that some group of militias, some group of whatever you want to call them, terrorists, Islamists, religious, they organize themselves and they take an entire nation on hostage? And a country that's supposed to have a standing army is helpless, and we are probably begging other people, please come and help us, come and help us. You see, I do not subscribe to the idea that we need the United States or Russia or China or France to come and militarily intervene in Nigeria. That is not what we need. We don't need that. Yesterday I was reflecting, I was thinking, okay, listen, I am not a military expert, but I was saying maybe it would have been to give these people 24 hours to 1 to surrender to the Nigerian government, and we still face persecution according to the Nigerian law, all of them. Or 2, at the end of that 24 hours, all of them, including where they hide out, will be burned to ashes. I literally mean burned to ashes by the Nigerian military. What that will mean is to serve as a deterrent to others who will take up this agenda later on. Because Nigeria have been dragged to the mud. We have become the laughing stock of all nations. A people who cannot even take care of their domestic need. We want to make noise in the international community. We elect people who have nothing to do with politics. They don't have any understanding of what leadership means. I understand it's a very complex situation, that of Nigeria. It's really, really complex. But this is something that is run by men. We need to make an effort to also understand it. From north to south to east to west, everybody is shouting of a particular ethnic group in Nigeria. Fulani here, Fulani there, Fulani here. Hey, come on. Are you the only people in Africa? Are you hungry? Are you the only people who know how to create havoc? So I don't even think this is a problem of the Fulani. It is not the problem of the Fulani people, ethnic group in Africa. It's exclusively the problem of the Nigerian government. Because it is the government that decides what should be the order of the day. That is why we have you as leaders. But how can you be soiling your hands in the criminal element that you are trying to fight? And now you have eaten so much that when you fight the terrorists, it appears that you are fighting yourself. But you turn around, you are sentencing a man to life imprisonment, a man who have never taken up arm in Nigeria. Of course, I'm not saying that I support Nnamdi Kanu for referring to Nigeria as zoo, but he's a human being. He is a human being. He has the right to criticize the country, that have caused this havoc to his people. You sentence him to life imprisonment. But what about the person who is shooting the general of a Nigerian army to death? What about the people that are supporting them? Not that they are supporting them, hiding their faces. They are coming out, organizing press conference. What are you going to do about it? So it is really a complex situation. Somebody, of course, is benefiting from this chaos. There is this idea that by the time you become a religious person, you suddenly have a tactical understanding of how to use a gun of how to create bombs and hold AK-47. No, that is not true. What is happening is that somebody is using this gullible individual in society to create havoc. So the question is, who is doing this? Of course, there is a lot of analysis about this that I don't even want to start because there is already enough of this. People that are more intelligent than me have already explained all of this for us to understand that what is happening is not even a religious war. It's a war organized by mafia, both local and international. Otherwise, how can you explain how this guy get not just the weapon? Because when you get a weapon, you also need to undergo training on how to use them. So who is training them to carry out this havoc? Who is training them to be able to navigate the complex web of eternal security, of how to take down an organized army? Who is doing this? You see, there is a lot that the Nigerian authority are not telling the people. Because what happened to that army general is more than enough to declare war. In 2015, I made a documentary called Pan-Africanism, Testing Idea on Reality. The thesis of that documentary was simply to ask fellow Africans whether we are actually guilty of what is happening to us, or do we need to keep on blaming other people, because we are very good in that. Blaming the European, the American, the Chinese, the Russians who are interested in our oil. Of course, if we are incapable of organizing ourselves, they are interested, they can take it. They come, they take it. Because we are incapable of organizing ourselves. We are just talking about some pockets of interest. We have no agenda, no political ideology, no philosophy, no understanding of the basic human comportment in the sense of how do human beings behave. We have lost completely the idea. Okay, let me ask a question. Very simple one. Somebody is telling me that he is a child of God. For this, he's going to kill another child of God. Come on, it doesn't even make any sense. How can you kill a child of God for God? How does that happen? What is your thinking faculty? Okay, you don't understand that he's a child of God. But if you kill him today, assuming your role in this world is to convert the infidel, the people who yet do not believe in your God, your agenda is to bring all of them to God. Now, how do you bring them to God if you already killed them? It doesn't require a lot of intelligence to even understand this basic. So it is not a religious situation. It's that some mafias are using religion as a way to get to their end. You see, it's kind of even very challenging, the rationale, the reasoning, the thinking, because I want to believe that we are all thinking that by the time I carry out this violence, this killing, this maiming of people, I will go to heaven and I will be rewarded with, with 70 virgins. But wait a minute. Let's take a moment to reflect on that. So now, your God, the kind of God that you are killing your fellow human being for, will reward you with 70 virgins. What are you going to do with them? To be having sex with 70 virgins? I can't even imagine myself doing that. If somebody were to promise me that for free, I will not take it. That is not the kind of gift I will want as a man. So it means you are so incapable of seeking a woman like every other man does. Like, what if this God prepare 70 virgins that you don't like? Are you going to fight him? Okay, now let's reflect on that again. So you are telling me that your God consider women as slaves, as objects, things like properties as gift, like an envelope, like a bottle of water. That is what you give as a gift. So it means in your level of reasoning, your daughter, your wife is a gift. It's not a human being like you. So if you have a sister, that your sister is a slave that needs to be given out as a gift. That's what they are saying. By believing in that erroneous idea that By the time you finish massacring people, your God that is living in the upstairs of heaven will give you 70 virgin. But come on, do you think your God that created this entire universe is just jumping from woman to woman to another woman to another woman? It doesn't make any sense. So all it just requires for us to do is to think a little bit, not very hard. I understand that it is said that thinking is the hardest thing to do. That is why people don't think. You just simply ask other people, think for me. This again is host in that this is not actually what is happening. People are not fighting because they want to go to heaven or things like that. I remember a couple of days ago, I was having this intense interview talking to a professor friend of mine on this question of religious violence in Nigeria. And of course, we're also thinking of organizing a conference around that. We went deep looking at different angles of the argument. Is it that these people are confused? Is it mental disease? Either somebody is sick, that is why he's doing that? Well, I think one of the questions that I actually asked him that I think is probably close to the answer is that we need to have an understanding between this religious violence and the drug abuse. Why is that important? When you take drug that sort of open up your mind to anything that come in, you become very vulnerable. It means now you don't really see human being as human being. It's not just an idea. Because if you're talking about idea, that means you still need to think. But if you are drugged, if these people are under drug, then they can do anything. You just simply shoot anything. So we also need to look at the proliferation of hard drugs in Nigeria, because that is also creating a problem to the extent that we don't see human beings as human beings. Of course, I'm going somewhere because I will be talking about responsibility just now. So that what we are looking for is not just to pray about this problem. I know it's complex. I already admit that it's a complex situation. Now, when it comes to the responsibility, in that say film, Pan-African is a testing idea on reality. I was saying that we need to take responsibility for what is happening to us as a people. That may be hard because some people don't want to grow up. They believe that somebody else is coming to help them, but nobody is coming to help you. Nobody is coming to help us. We will die here because we haven't been able to grow up. One army general was saying that what stopped Hitler from being able to carry out his agenda in Africa was because he attacked other people. He was expanding himself too much in Europe, attacking Russia, and dragging many people into war. Of course, he have already conquered France and the rest of it. He easily would have been able to reach Africa. And when he reached Africa, you know what is the agenda of Hitler? Of course, there are still many of those agendas still growing around in Europe today, that they were going to use Africa as a testing ground. Probably all of us would have been turned into zombies. You know why I'm sort of throwing that into the conversation? Is that we need to look for a way to grow up and take up the challenges of defending our right to be alive. We cannot do that if we are killing ourselves all the time. If within Africa, some ethnic group has stepped up to take off arms and start destroying other people, not because somebody is threatening you. Now, let's look at the Fulani ethnic group in Nigeria. You see, you are not the only ethnic group in Nigeria. That is one. Secondly, your land was not taken away by the Nigerian people. That is two. And three, you could easily have been able to cohabit with other fellow Africans. And the fourth one, I think this is really very important. You really do not have the power, the logistics to be able to take down Nigeria. But what is happening? That some people in Nigeria have decided to give you a leeway to be able to carry out your violence. That is why you are having a chance to be able to do that. Okay, I am saying that to mean that it is not the Fulani that is the problem for Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria are the Nigeria politicians and local mafias who want to benefit by collaborating with some foreigners that are interested in Nigerian resources, and therefore they are able to do anything to create division so they can keep on this crisis, because people benefit from crisis. Crisis is a weapon. Poverty is a weapon. Distraction is a weapon. They are weaponizing poverty in Nigeria so that they'll be able to manipulate the people. That is what they are doing. It is not Fulani problem. It is the Nigerian leadership problem. Because all they will probably take, I want to repeat again, maybe 3 months. All the Boko Haram, all of them, I'm not saying that few, all of them will be gone. They will be gone from Nigeria. Probably 3 months. All of them, I'm not saying maybe some of them will be left somewhere, because if they run into Sabisa Forest, let me tell you what a functioning Nigerian military will do. They will turn Sabisa Forest into manure so that people can farm there. That is what an army does when they feel threatened. But what if member of the Nigerian army, member of the Nigerian ruling elite are part of the Boko Haram? You can't fight yourself. You see, no matter how strong you are, you can't fight yourself, because a house divided will always fall. So Nigeria is not really fighting an external forces. Nigeria is fighting itself. But why? Because this is how we have always done it. During the slave trade, because many African academia, many Nigerian academia included, they would like to blame the European for having enslaved their people, which is partly right. It's only partly right. Okay, this will take me back to another work. In 2010, I wrote a book that I titled Underdevelopment in Africa, My Hands Are Clean. Okay, if you watch, the thesis of that book and the thesis of my 2015 documentary is the same. Underdevelopment in Africa, my hands are clean. Okay, what I was saying in that book is that Africans, you are not innocent of what have happened to you. So African people, we are not innocent of what we are usually accusing other people of. It's just because we sometimes are too naive to be able to rise up to the challenges of doing auto-criticism, of analyzing our situation and see where we are going wrong. Because until we get to that point, we are not mature. We cannot even take care of our home. Other people will come to take care of the home for us. Now we are saying, let's send the US Marine to Nigeria. But do Nigeria not have a Marine? That is the question we should be asking. All the billions of dollars that the Nigerian government is spending on the military, where are they spending it? They are just sharing it among themselves. Organized criminals among the Nigerian politics. That is what they do. Because they want to be rich, but they're already rich. Where are they having the money? They are building houses, they are buying houses in London, in Paris, in saving the money in Switzerland, in the US. But look at it. This is why my professor friend would say it's a mental health problem. Because if it is not a mental health problem, you ask yourself, all this money that you are stealing, where are you going to use it? You can't spend all this money. So it means something is inherently wrong with you, with your thinking faculty. Because it's not all Nigerians that are actually thinking like this, but a large proportion of us are thinking like this. So that if we just eliminate Tinubu today, some other persons will come into this position, they will do exactly the same, or maybe do worse. So the problem is not just an individual, it's a socio-cultural problem. Now, going back to what I was saying before, that we have a big responsibility to shoulder in what is happening to us. Whether you are looking at the Fulani that is now being used as a distraction across West Africa, they are calling themselves Islamics. During slavery, the Oba of Benin initially was basically encouraging the enslavement of his people. I'm from Edo State, no? In the land of Asa, of course, across the land, many wars were stirred up, the same way that is being stirred up today. What for? For the purpose of capturing people that will be sold into slavery, because it was a business. Now, for those of you that might be angry, are you talking to our Oba? Hey, cool down. Of course, later the Oba will change its position because they have seen that most of their men have been sold into slavery. Now, of course, you need to think a little bit, but then it's already too late. It's already too late because if the Oba didn't support this, if the Benin military didn't support this, it would probably have been difficult for them to be captured and their city burned down anyway. Because if all your men have been taken away now, it's obvious that you become weak. But how do you become weak? You weaken yourself, your internal military, your internal defense. When you weaken yourself, the enemy can come around and they just handpick you like babies. That is what they did. How many? Okay, now this is a critical question. How many thousands of British military were sent to take down Benin? How many? You see, there are less than 3,000. How can less than 3,000 army take down a city? It's because the people were already weak. The Benin military, the Benin defense were already weak. Why? Because they already sold out themselves. That is why in America today, many of the people that are in America are coming from the land of Edo State, in Yoruba land. That is why you hear them speaking Yoruba in places like Brazil, in North America, and in the United States. They didn't get there because somebody come to learn it, because these are your people. You sold them out. Now, the same way that the kings, the royal palaces in Africa, willfully participated in the enslavement of their people, in the same way that they are doing it today. It is not different. They are willingly exploiting their people for their selfish gain. That is what they are doing today. Otherwise, how can you participate in the destruction of your own land? What of Tinubu have to benefit in the destruction of Nigeria? Why is the Nigerian army not strong enough to defend the country? So that when you raise your hand and say, I swore by the Constitution of Nigeria to defend and uphold the integrity of this country, I will protect life and property of the Nigerian people. But the Nigerian people have been slaughtered. Are you failing yourself or you are failing the people? The current president of Nigeria and many other high places individuals, including the Sultan of Sokoto, the Emir, and all of them, they are the same like their ancestors who sold out their people into slavery. Because they don't care about the people. They don't care about the ordinary people. They are interested in being able to appeal to some other who do not even care about them. They want to appear nice to the European. The European don't care about you. You are all equally shit. When the time comes, they want to burn you, they will burn you alive. You see, I was saying before, what Hitler wanted to do in Africa, he wanted to turn the whole land of Africa into manure. They will use it as a best fit them. We are considered as things, as property for them. That is why in the 1800s, they sat down in Berlin and they break up Africa into it's a chunk of property for them. Can you imagine that for a moment? Can you imagine that for a moment? If we were having leaders in Africa, they will look for a way to undo that. But instead, what do we have? We have these grown-up men in Aso Rock that are masturbating before they are monsters. That is what you are doing. You are killing your people. You are not man enough to say, this is my border. That in this country, this is how we want to be able to govern ourselves. This is what I think maybe we could have done. Is that if we need to practice Islam in Nigeria, we will rewrite it. Okay, you didn't hear me well. If we want to practice Islam in Nigeria, we will codify Islam according to the needs of the Nigerian people. If people want to become Christians in Nigeria, we will recodify the Bible, rewrite literally the Bible, word by word, as it fits the need of the people. Let me tell you what this one would mean. It will detach the Nigerian Christians from Vatican. And we also detach the Nigerian Muslim from Saudi Arabia. So that when we talk about Jesus, probably we'll see you the same name, but we will change the elements so well that it reflects the image of a Nigerian person. Because currently as it stands, any Italian, any American, white American, or any French person who comes to Nigeria is a direct copy of Jesus. So that sometimes I've made argument with some people. I say, if I were looking for Jesus to worship, I just walk out of my street. If I see Italian, I will just say, oh, my Jesus. That is the representation that we have. As Nigeria, Jesus will be like a typical Hausa, a typical Yoruba, or a typical Igbo person. If we speak their dialect, we will codify the language in a way that when you say you are a Christian in Nigeria, you are completely detached from Vatican, from European version of Christianity. But why am I even saying that? Because all the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, are originally African. Perhaps you didn't know that. They are originally African. They are not European. It's just that Europeans take this message and codify it the way that it served them. Therefore, they use it as instrument of propaganda to capture people and of course give it to them. Anyway, that is another argument. I don't really like to go into this complicated conversation. But you see, the 12th commandment was taken from a law that was already thousands of years old in Africa. It's called the 42 Negative Confession. You know that already. I'm not even trying to be teaching you that. You know that. We don't also need to go into the logic of that. Why the 42 Negative Confession is saying, I did not commit adultery. I did not commit murder. Whereas the 12th commandment is saying, thou shalt not do. You see, the level is different. Thou shalt not do is talking to immature people, telling them what you should not do. I have not done, which is the original version according to the ancient Egyptian text, meaning that I'm mature enough, I know what to do and what not to do. So they are not operating from the same level. But I'm telling you that your original version is far superior to the European version. But here you are, shouting, Jesus, Jesus. But all of you are gathered in the church, and the people come and they burn you down. Your Jesus is walking the other way. How can we worship a Jesus that cannot save you? Jesus is not going to save you. I am telling you that. If you want to save yourself, you need to devise a strategy. Because if Jesus will save you, he would have saved you many years ago. For how long have you been praying? For how long have you been praying for Jesus to save you? So what I was saying that bring this session of the argument in is that if we have a functioning leadership in Africa, we will undo many of the tripwire that the colonialists set for us. Again, I'm not blaming them for that. I'm blaming us because we haven't grown up enough. If a type of Hitler, another Hitler will rise up in Europe today, Africa have no defense. Completely, we are like babies, children. They will just have pick us on the road like little baby because we don't have leadership, we don't have army, we don't create weapons, we don't do anything. If there is a war today, of course there is war in Nigeria, of course, although the Nigerian government haven't yet declared it as a war, we will not use locally made weapons to fight. Why? Because we haven't developed it. Why? The people are so stupid to the point of believing that the enemy will supply them weapons to fight the enemy. Can you imagine that? That as big as Nigeria, we don't have a 1 million army ready. Sophisticated weapons developed in Abuja, in Enugu, or in Port Harcourt. And I'm saying locally produced weapons, sophisticated. You see, during the Nigerian Civil War, the Biafra have developed a sophisticated weapon. A sophisticated, of course, because it was effective at the time. I'm not saying sophisticated in the sense of being able to take down the army of today. But what I'm saying is that what if we have a leader in Nigeria, a leader in the sense of a leader which is different from this stupid idiot that we currently have, but we have a leader who is able to have an idea of what a country should be, and therefore working towards that. In the next 100 years, this is what Nigeria is going to be in terms of defense, technology, road, all the infrastructure, education. You see, we don't even talk about that now. We don't talk about that. Because we are fighting for is Hausa, is Yoruba, is Christian, is Muslim. All these are irrelevant. For the fact that you are a Hausa person or a Yoruba person in Nigeria is irrelevant. What is relevant in Nigeria is that you are a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We need leadership that is able to see far ahead of what is happening today. And what is currently taking place in Nigeria leading to the death of a Nigerian army general executed in Nigeria. We should be in war, eradicating all this disease that is affecting us. But how can we do that if the same disease are the leadership that we have? That's why I was saying it's a little bit complicated. For those that want to go to heaven and be rewarded with slaves as women, you need to realize that the world has grown. Women are not supposed to be treated as slaves. They are not supposed to be treated as gift to you, as if they are nothing. If you realize that they are also human beings, then the mythology that you have, that you are going to be given 70 virgins when you die, false. Like you look through it and it becomes transparent. Therefore, you start questioning yourself, why are you killing people? And if on the side of the so-called Christians in Nigeria prayed every day, Holy Ghost fire, but when the fire comes now, we see the pastor running and bothering the other church member to be massacred. We see that also is not effective. Jesus is not coming. Sorry. Jesus is not coming to save you. If you don't save yourself, you will literally die. Jesus have never saved anybody. Again, to that who might be thinking, but you are just criticizing. What I'm saying in effect is that religion is the opium of the people. People are sometimes too stupid to think. Some people who are smart, I need to think for them. I understand that. But that is why we have government. The government should be able to dictate what is the philosophy of the people. England decided to rewrite the Bible according to their version. Did you not know that the King James version that you are reading, was it created in Nigeria? What is wrong if we create a different version, maybe call it Udukwe? That is the Nigerian version of the Bible. Ikechi. So that we start mentioning them like Amadioha inside this Bible. Because the falsehood that was brought by the European is not going to save us. It's not going to save you. If you like, pray from here till thy kingdom come. Jesus is not coming to save you. Until you find a way to save yourself, all of us will perish. We need to wake up. We need to wake up from this slumber. And for the Nigerian authority, you need to rise up to your challenge. They are telling you, let's fight. So you can't go there, you can't run. Tinubu, you cannot run. The enemy are saying, we are in your land, we are coming to kill you. We are coming to kill your people. You cannot run now. Rise up to the challenge. Employ all the forces that is available in Nigeria to defeat them. That is why you are a government. Government. You are supposed to take care of this. You need to take care of this. That is what you are for. We need to find a solution. The solution must be within us. And for the soul of the warriors of Nigeria that have been killed, we say, may your soul rest in peace. And we hope that one day we will have a leader. We have a leader who truly have an understanding of what leadership is, who is able to defend the people of Nigeria, who is able to protect our land, our national and territorial integrity, who is able to defend the people, who is going to make sure that a Nigerian is respected in the world because we are honorable people. Instead of these thieves, we are looking for that day. And we're going to find our leader among us because they will wipe out the tears that are rolling down our eyes. Serving in the Nigerian military should be the biggest honor that a Nigerian citizen will have. Why are they saying they are not coming to serve? Now we hear somebody say that if they refuse to serve, we'll make it compulsory. They are not coming because you guys are failing woefully. You are refusing to defend those who want to volunteer their life to the service of their motherland. You are bringing them out to be slaughtered, and you are doing nothing about it. How much intelligence do you need to have to understand that?